Welcome again to the Depot Sports Chat. I'm sports editor Drew Rubenstein. I'm with Ed Owens. And Ed, we're a couple days away from WVU's third game of the season against Georgia State, coming off of a 16-7 loss at Oklahoma. And seems like we can't get away from talking about the quarterbacks. Third game into the season, and WVU's back to square one. Not announcing the starter for Saturday's game, and it sounds like all three guys could end up getting into the game. How concerning is this for the Mountaineers right now, and how long could it take to actually find their guy, do you think?
Yeah, I do think it is a concern for them. I think they were hoping that one guy, obviously in camp, would step up and take the job. They gave Paul Millard a few opportunities in the first two games, and didn't do terribly, but didn't really step up and grab it. So they are going back. They're opening up the competition. They had disqualified or taken Ford Childress out of the competition and left it up to Millard and Clint Trickett. Now they're bringing Ford back in and making it a three-man race again. I asked Shannon Dawson yesterday if they were back to square one. He did say no. He said he's had time to evaluate them. They know what they're getting into. Basically what they're going to do this week is kind of dumb down the offense a little bit, go a little more simplistic, and give everybody a chance. He said everyone is guaranteed at least one series. What they do after that will be up to them.
Interesting. And Georgia State is in its first year as an FBS program, but it's struggling. It wasn't even a thriving FCS program. I think it was 1-10 last year. So given that, how much will we actually learn about WVU's quarterbacks from Saturday's game?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I think when we went into the first game against William & Mary, we said the same thing. It's a FCS program. It's going to be a nice chance to get a look at people, but you can't really judge what they do in that game. If, let's say, Trickett comes out and throws for 300 yards, he still did it against a weaker opponent. I mean, you're going to get a chance to see what they know, what they've learned, how efficiently they can execute the offense. But as far as the offense goes as a whole, they're still doing it against a lower quality opponent.
They've made some other changes on the offensive side. Kevin White, Ronald Carswell, and Mario Alford are now your starting receivers for the Mountaineers. Do you think they're settled on these guys? Are these guys going to be the playmakers that they're hoping for, or what's the situation for the receivers?
Yeah, I don't think they're settled on anything. I think it kind of goes with the quarterbacks as well. They're trying these guys out. Two of them, Mario and Kevin White, both missed significant time in camp. Kevin White even missed the first game of the season. So they're really, I think, trying to give everybody a fair shake, give everybody an opportunity to learn, get out there and prove what they can do. I do think these are the guys that they've seen as the playmakers through the first two games. They really are hoping that they can settle on these three guys and have them lead this group. That said, I don't think they want to go into a game with just three receivers. That's kind of the thing they did last year, and they've been talking about depth. They've been talking about using more guys. So even if these three are the starters, I think they still want to see everything from guys like Ivan McCartney, Dakeil Shorts. I mean, guys who can come in and contribute.
One maybe not unknown for the Mountaineers, who's maybe been one of the more impressive pieces in the first two games, is Pat Agar. Started off as the sixth man for the Mountaineers, and now he's listed as the starting center. What has he shown the coaches, and what is Pat doing here in his redshirt senior year?
Yeah, they were using him in a utility role, kind of bouncing him back and forth between left guard and right guard in the first couple of games. Last game he got in for a few series at center against Oklahoma, and that was his first playing experience at center. They had switched him, given him a little bit of time at center in the spring. He got injured, came back. He told us yesterday he didn't take a single snap at center in camp, which I thought was pretty interesting. And now they're giving him a chance on the big stage, getting out there to do it. But even while they were moving him around, the one thing the coaches said they really liked is that he's a vocal leader. It didn't matter if he was coming off the bench, didn't matter what position he was playing. He was taking that leadership role and being the voice on the offensive line.
Now that it's been a few days after the game, the vibe on the defensive side of the ball, they held Oklahoma to 16 points on the road, gave up 300 yards rushing. What are the expectations now for this defense? Has it really improved as much as what it looks like on the stat sheet from last season, or where do you think they are?
Yeah, I think they have definitely improved. They've showed a lot of signs of improvement. Again, I don't know that we've been able to really judge it. Oklahoma struggled. I mean, they had a young first-year quarterback in there, Trevor Knight, who did not excel against WVU. Part of that, clearly, credit deserves to go to WVU's defense, but Oklahoma's offense struggled as well. Like we said for the offense, I don't know that we're going to get a really strong picture of how good this defense can be this weekend. I think you're going to have to wait till they get into the teeth of their schedule, but the vibe's positive. Everyone is really happy with what they did, turning in terms of turnovers against Oklahoma. They got 4. But Dana said, to be a dominating defense, you have to win games, and they didn't, and that's what they're looking to do from here on out.
Absolutely, and against Georgia State, they'll be facing a much different type of a rushing attack. Oklahoma had quite a few backs and a nice and a nice quarterback running the ball, whereas Georgia State's average 51 yards rushing a game. So, like you said, probably aren't going to learn a whole lot about them. But Ed, thanks a lot for joining us, and please continue to check thedpost.com. We'll have a blog up and running for the Georgia State game, and then Ed and I will be back with a post-game report. Thanks a lot.